Hello, good evening, everybody. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
I said that already.
I just
So let me tell you what just happened. We forgot to press go live. So this is why it took us a minute. We keep forgetting, like we just came from a whole revival. We've been in revival from early this morning from 10 o'clock, and we just got out at like around like 6, 7 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
Oh, 5 o'clock, and then we had to go and feed the kids. I'm gonna tell you, it was a lot, right? So, you okay?
Yeah.
So we have a camera facing here, and then I have my computer here. So we're gonna be looking back and forth so that we can add the next segment in, or actually add the couple in that's gonna be actually doing this particular segment. And let me tell you, you guys are in for a treat. As you can see, we're talking about marriage in the marketplace. And so, who do we have?
Oh, we have the awesome Brian and Genevieve Harris.
Absolutely. So they're coming on today. Genevieve wears a plethora of hats. And so today she's going to talk about one of the things that she does so much in the community. And I'm just going to bring them in so that they can share so much about themselves and what they actually do. So, with that being said, make sure that you stay towards the end because I do have two giveaways today. And we also, if you're not able to stream from here, always make sure that you go to our YouTube channel, and we'll make sure that we put it in the description and below, or somewhere where you guys can actually find it, because just in case Facebook does crazy things, you can always find us. So with that being said, I am going to add in Brian and Genevieve. Hey, y'all.
Hey.
Hey.
Good evening, people.
Good evening. What's up, B? How y'all doing?
Good, man. I'm good.
We're good. We're excited. We're excited to be here and talk to the both of you.
I'm so excited to have you guys here. This has been long overdue. Let me tell you, when we first started this, it was actually with Brian and Genevieve Harris in our home. So we would always just sit. You guys would come over when, like every Sunday?
Every Sunday.
It was Sunday after church.
Yep.
And they would come over and we would just sit down and we would just talk. So this actually came about with them. And so as we started, they just said, just go ahead. You guys already started the platform. Just go. But I was so excited to get them on because we talk about everything. And it just so happens that Genevieve is my husband's cousin. So this is definitely a treat. So we're going to go ahead and let you guys just introduce yourself. Go ahead and get started. Tell us who you are.
Ladies
Oh,
first.
well, I know you.
Well, my name is Genevieve Harris, and I know that's one of the things in MarketPlace that we'll talk about because I kept my maiden name. And so people normally ask that. So his last name is not Carvel Harris. His last name is Harris. And I am an entrepreneur and an author. I speak a lot. I do a lot of things, as Taisha said, in the community. But the things that people know me the most for would be the dance ministry, which is Declare and Decree. It's a community arts ministry that we have, and we've been doing that for over 18 years at this point. And the other thing that people would know me for is Built by Jen, and now Moments into Millions, which is consulting and helping people build their businesses, especially if they're trying to make 6 figures or 7 figures. So that's what I do.
Absolutely. Brian, let me tell you, no, I know that you know your wife wears all these hats. And I know you bald, and every now and then you wear a couple hats.
This is true. This is true.
But you wear some hats. So let's talk about the hats that you wear.
So my name is Brian Harris. How many hats do I wear? What are my hats? I guess is a better question. So my 9 to 5 is I work for the city of Miami as a code enforcement officer. Recently, partially because of because of Genevieve, I kind of jumped into entrepreneurship because what I was doing for the past couple of years in our house was making soap and things like that just for us to use. And Jen being Jen during COVID said, well, I'll make a wager with you. If you sell these items, whatever you sell in the next 30 days, I'll match it. I told her nobody's going to buy anything. She said, just try me. So
Right.
I did. And I sold 25 boxes in like a week and a half at $75 a pop. So this entrepreneurship thing is real.
Absolutely.
It really is.
And it's good to actually listen to somebody who is behind you and cares for you and want to see you actually succeed. So therefore, we have the King case.
Exactly, which I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit later on.
We'll talk about that a little bit later, because I got a surprise for some people so they can see, you know I love the King case. I know it's for men, but I sneak and get a little smell every now and then. Oh, it smells so good. Okay, I'm not going to spoil it. So talk about marriage in the marketplace. What is that?
Okay. Brian and I talk about this all the time, because what people don't understand is that we understand marketplace. So we know that people are going to have businesses and they're going to have, like, they're going to be selling items, or they're going to be like me, I coach. And so when you're talking about that as it relates to your marriage, you always have to be careful about making money in your marriage, especially if you all have not decided who's going to be the breadwinner, or if that even matters in 2021. And that's something that we have to adjust. Like, does it matter if the man, makes more money, or if the woman makes more money today? Like, how does that work? For us in our marriage, we just knew that there was possibly going to come a time where I may make more money, right? And Brian never really cared about that, so long as we knew in the beginning that he felt like he was being a provider and covering me. So that was very important in the beginning, because he was like, almost like, I'll race you to the top, and as long as I did it at some point, then I feel okay. But I think that a lot of people kind of struggle with that, whether or not the woman or the man should be the breadwinner. And that's something that's really, really strong that I find right now, because if one is an entrepreneur and the other one is not, like, what does that mean? You know, because I am the entrepreneur, and Brian is just now coming to understand, like, even what entrepreneurship is. And it's okay if he never did, right? If he did not become an entrepreneur. Like, if you set standards of how money is to be made in your household, it doesn't really matter what anybody else thinks about it on the outside, right? But I think it really has to do with how you're handling money and your business in your marriage.
I agree. Like, this is really, can you guys hear me okay?
No.
So this is good, because I know that, for us, maybe he can speak to this, because I'm always talking. But when we first, got together, I was the one that was making the money. And then, he just, once we got everything together, he was like, you know what, quit your job. And I was a stay-at-home mom for like forever. I thought it would never end, but I did those things. But then getting back into the work field, or actually finishing school and things like that, now it's like it's an equal playing field. But there are some times where men are intimidated, and I see this a lot with a lot of my clients, where the woman is making the money and the man isn't, because he doesn't have an idea of who he kind of is, or he is jealous of his wife and he's not willing to help to push her. So he just kind of straggles in the background, and he's hemming and hawing towards trying to not even help her. He just really doesn't feel it, because he doesn't have a dream or a goal. So I'm seeing that a lot, but I don't think that's the case between you and Jen. So can you kind of help the people to understand why you are the man that you are, and you can stand strong in who you are, while she kind of goes a little bit further? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. So the first thing I want to touch on is the last one of these we had last week with the other group about submission. I want to pick up where they left off, because even in the marketplace, you're welcome. Even in the marketplace, there is a form of submission that has to take place. Yes. And what I mean by that is, if you're married to an entrepreneur, there at some point will come a position where you may have to support their ideas and their goals. You may not necessarily wholeheartedly agree with it, but if you can align with it and help push them, then if the roles are switched, they're a lot more comfortable submitting to help you move into whatever you're trying to do.
Yeah.
So if I never aligned with Jen when she was going into entrepreneurship, me now going into entrepreneurship would be a cold, difficult situation all by myself. But because I was able to nurture Jen and allow her to flourish and figure things out, me saying, you know what, I think I'm ready to be an entrepreneur. Then she goes, the Birdman hands. Yes, all right, so let's do this. This is what you can do. This is what you can do. This is what you can do. But a lot of that permeated or started from submission.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Submission is it can be a scary thing, but it actually isn't, because when you can understand the vision, and like you said, we spoke about that last week, understanding the vision and not being afraid of the vision, because Genevieve is in a lot of things. She's not like she was just really, no, she was being modest at the thing. Sometimes I have to ask her, what are you doing this week? Who are you this week? And she's like, well, today I am, and she'll insert here what she's actually doing. But one of the things that I know her to be is a person that knows how to catapult the next person into their own visions. I've seen her do this with our first business that we were starting. She just got the things together immediately, and that business is thriving to this day. And it also showed us how to move forward and so many other things. So when she says that she's a capacity builder, she really is that. And so I would admonish a lot of you guys. I know she's being modest today with her bow tie on, but I'm telling you, she really is the GOAT. And to be behind somebody like that, and I won't even say that you're behind her, Brian. You stand side by side with her because the man that you are, you're so calm and so meek, to the person that she is. Like, you're very approachable, and you're so loving, and you're so gentle. And that's really good to see, because we don't see that often in marriages. And so I just wanted to commend you guys on that. So without further ado, do you have anything that you wanted to share?
Well,
You have to speak up a little.
All I'm saying is this is some good stuff. I'm just here listening to this. I'm enjoying myself. But honestly, submission is part of our business atmosphere in our home, because we had to come to agreement on what we was going to do for our future.
Absolutely.
If I didn't stand down and say, as husband, say, something, dear, you do what you have to do until I get myself on my feet, we would probably be in the same rock that we was in 15 years ago.
So kind of explain to them.
As in, when she first met me, I didn't have it all together, but heck, I wanted to be with this woman. I don't care. Nobody said it was my wife. The heck with anybody else. I don't care about the mom and daddy, sister, brother. This was mine. So when I got with her, she realized, okay, you ain't doing that well. I said, well, baby, do me a favor. You take care of me for 2 years. I take myself on my feet. I got you the rest of the way.
To talk about.
Now, by me doing that, I put a fire in her behind, like, oh, this man gonna take care of me. Let me see if he gonna talk the talk, and when walk as he talking. Yes, I began to do it. When the time came, dear, don't worry about it. I got you. Go to school. If I can't, don't worry about it. I support her in all her dreaming and expectation that she wanted in herself. I wanted for her as well. That's so. My vision was, if she get on her feet and get what she needs,
he can retire and be a stay-at-home dad.
Listen,
ain't nothing wrong with that.
Can I ask you, Taisha, because he brought that up, right? Because this is actually like right before you get into MarketPlace, but the MarketPlace starts in your home. Like when you met him and he wasn't there, right? Quote unquote, right? He said, I didn't have my things together. And that can mean a lot of things. Maybe he had them together and didn't just feel like he had it together as a man. Because sometimes people can have their things together, but if it's not what they want to have, then they still don't feel like it. Especially like if it's like a man and he wants to achieve something. What was it that made you say, I could do 2 years? Like what?
This is how we do when we sitting around and we talking. I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing. Like, you gonna stop it? I say, what hat you got on today?
It's a lot of people. Your sister hat. I got on the sister hat because I think that a lot of people would have been turned off or whatever. Like, oh, he don't have his stuff together, even by his own admission. I don't have my stuff together. So what made you say, yeah, that's fine. I'm going to invest 2 years into this and believe that I'm going to have a return on the investment that I'm making in our love?
See, I told you we just got out of revival, so I'm still kind of full, so you're gonna make me cry.
Yeah.
But so what happened is that I saw him. I saw the potential in him.
Good.
So when God was showing him me, God showed me him. Now everybody knows that before all of this, I was with women, and I was like, there's no way that I'm gonna take care of a man, but I saw him. I saw what God was going to be doing for him, and I believed him. I trusted him. I saw his work ethic, but there were other things that were playing in the background. It was like he was being, I guess the term would be puppeted. Is that the term?
Yeah.
Brian, can you help me, brother? Because you're the spelling bee champion and the wordsmith.
Come on, man. Why you gotta put me out there like that?
I'm just saying, you know who you are.
Okay. Let me put that down.
I saw a lot of things, and I saw the attacks that were on him. You know how sometimes women can throw a good man away? I saw him. I was like, let me get this good man. Y'all done threw this man in the trash. It's a good man. So I said, let me see. Yeah. And so, but I saw him. I saw his heart. I saw his heart for family. I saw his heart for even the people that were trying to destroy him. In that time, there were so many people trying to destroy him. I said, I'm not. I just stood in the gap for him, and I said, I'll take care of you, and I did. And it wasn't a pain, because every morning this man he would cook. He's a wonderful, like, he cooks. Yes. And I wanted him. Even the children and things like that we have, I wanted him, and still 15 years later, I still want him. I still crave him. So even if we were to go into a shack, if I had to live in a shack, I'm gonna live in a shack.
Ain't gonna happen.
Well, we ain't gonna live in a shack. I'm gonna come live over there with Brian. We live in no shack. But that's important. I would trust that he could bring us out.
Yeah.
You understand?
That's important. And I think that has a lot to deal with like the marketplace mindset, because none of us are in marketplace and not trying to make money, right? But I think that what people struggle with is, what do we do when that money comes? Because people always say money changes things. And I really don't think that money changes things so much as money exposes things. So if you were selfish before, you get some money, you're gonna be even more selfish. If you did not respect your spouse before, it's easy to throw the spouse away because now you got some money. Tikwa, you all know Tikwa. Tikwa sent me a picture the other day that says, like, men essentially, or some men rent essentially like who they can afford until their money changes, and then they switch out.
You better come on and say that.
And I think that's at least what it appears like in social media and things like that. That's why you can start to hear like the Kevin Hart stories, or the Steve Harvey, Marjorie stories, where it's like you wouldn't have been able to afford a Nico before. Yeah. You wouldn't have been able to afford Gabrielle Union before. Dwayne, you wouldn't have been able to afford Mariah Carey, Nick. You know what I'm saying? So then it's that idea that money changed them. Well, really, I mean, they may have already had these desires and just kind of settled for what they felt like they could deal with so that they wouldn't be by themselves, right? Mm-hmm. And you kind of see this trade out almost like it's NFL, NBA, like we just gonna trade you once we come up. We don't want a couple of finals championships at this point. It's time to let this team go. It's like that sort of mindset. But I think that if we can really identify who these people are when we get into these relationships, what you're saying right now is not I want to be in the shack. But you're saying if the life that we lead, for whatever reason, come what may, led us to a shack, we wouldn't stay in the shack, and at least our shack would have love in it.
Absolutely.
And if you don't have that, you can have a mansion and be empty. Yep.
Absolutely.
So it's that.
I'm glad that we met during, like he always says, because I was afraid of us making money, because I didn't want him to leave. You know how, who was that? Yeezy, where he said, they get on and then they leave you for a white girl, or they leave you for somebody that they think is better. And he says, you think I'm finna go through all this hell that I had to go through with you? Things are getting better and I'm gonna leave you? He was like, no. I've invested too much money in you. Go ahead.
I'm gonna tell you right now, for any man that sit there and invest all their time and their effort in their wife, become somebody great and walk away from them, they are a fool. They're gonna turn around and look at the next man that give it that woman and do great with her.
Yeah, exactly.
No, you're gonna watch me do great with my wife.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I'm not gonna be that fool that's gonna sit around here and invest all this time to make this woman who she is today.
Oh, you made me.
And she made me who I am today. And we're gonna leave each other with somebody else? Oh no. I gotta get used to all the attitudes, all the different things. Oh, I'm saying it. I'm not doing that. I love her attitude.
You're like, I ain't
this is actually true. Like, this is real. Like, you're making all this money and you're building, like, we're building together. Our children are building with us. Why would I want to reinvest in someone else when I can continue to get to know this person? Because each year things get different. We change, and we're changing now for the better. I thought it was going to be worse for a long time because it seemed like we couldn't get out of this rut. But until we made a decision to say, you know what, we're going to work together. We're going to figure this thing out. We're going to pray together. We're going to do this together. When we finally did that, things start changing for us. God started moving in our lives. Businesses started to open up. Genevieve came into our lives like we didn't talk to y'all for many, many years, and then boom. And then, but it didn't come with just, it came with, here, this is a business idea. Here, let me help you. So it was things that just started to change and to move on our behalf. And I'm personally completely grateful for the changes that God is doing in our lives and the steps and the movements that we're making, because we're doing nothing but getting better together.
Yeah.
We're getting better together. We're not getting better separate. We're getting better together.
Right. And I think that one of the things that we have to say is that God did not call everybody to have a business with their spouse, because some of y'all gonna try to do that and get a divorce behind it. Everybody is not supposed to be an entrepreneur, and everybody is not supposed to go into business with their spouses, right? Because sometimes the only place y'all supposed to boss each other is the bedroom, and that's just real. Some people cannot separate the fact that the paperwork's not done and you raised your voice at me at 2:30, and then it's a little later, and now you want to love and you want to touch and you want no. How about you go back and do those papers that's on the desk? People don't know how to separate it all the time. So I don't think that everybody should go into business with their spouses. At the same time, just because you married that person doesn't mean they're going to be the best business partner. They may be the best partner for your life, but they may not be the best business partner. And so we talk about marriage and marketplace. Just because y'all married, just like every pastor should not have the first lady be co-pastor with him. That's in the church. God may have called you and didn't call her in that office. So you got to see like what her skill set is, and vice versa. Just because the woman may be called to pastor or whatever, and the man may not be called to do that. I don't force Brian at all to preach just because I preach. I let him operate.
Oh, that's one of your other hats. They don't even know you're a pastor.
I let him operate in his gifting. I don't try to pull him into something that he's not. Oh, you should preach because I'm preaching. I understand my gifting, and then I honor his. I think a lot of people, when we start talking about this marketplace stuff, don't understand. Like, I don't have to agree with you, but I better respect it. Right. I better respect what it is that you feel comfortable doing. Because even when we first started, even in ministry, Brian is a musician, and he would hear me singing praise and worship and sit in the church and not play. I used to be like, what is wrong with this man? Like, he don't see me struggling. I'm singing a cappella. We were singing with like CDs and the CDs skipping. He could play and save me and sit right there with his eyes closed. For years. And I'd be like, you better be that deep in worship. You know what I'm saying? And we had to address it because eventually that was going to be a stumbling block. You understand what I'm saying? And I think that people in general, which is why I love what you all are doing, because of the transparency. You got to be able to start having these conversations, right? And there are some people who feel like they are entitled. And so I have to give the flip side to what my cousin just said. Because my cousin said, if you've invested all this money into somebody to kind of make them who they are, the negative side of that is that there are some people who feel like because I had it and you didn't have it, I'm entitled to what you built. Mm-hmm. And that is not fair either. That just because you had it, like, and now all of a sudden it's like I owe you, like I owe you my success. I owe you my stuff. First of all, that person still had to work. They still had to do what it is that they need to do. So if you don't mind, your manners and figure out what's going on in your life, you will literally align yourself out of that person's life by rubbing in their face. Well, I had it when you didn't have it. I had it when you didn't have it. That just kind of takes away the fact that they still had to work hard to get where they are. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like they still had to do things. And so it's the other side to that.
I see.
Well, can I say something right quick? What I'm hearing so far is, as a husband, as a wife, we have to respect each other's position.
Absolutely.
I understand that you're going to be the entrepreneur of our family. I'm going to give you all the support you need. Mm-hmm. And that's all. That means I got to get my black butt up in the morning time to go to work in the morning, be sure the bills paid until your business gets to the point it need to be at, so I can retire, stay home dad.
Y'all pray for him that I do what I'm supposed to do, so that he can be a that's his lifelong dream. That he gets to be a I don't know what message he's getting, but a stay-at-home dad is not gonna be one. The Lord didn't call you to that. He didn't call you to that. Maybe he did. I don't know. Yeah. Go ahead, Brian.
One of the things I do want to touch on is so far we've all been talking about trust in different aspects. And in terms of the marketplace, I do want to touch on the topic of trust in the sense of, and I think we had this conversation in the background, but I want to make sure that people are on can hear it as well.
Also, real quick, I just want to tell everybody that they can start asking questions at this point as well. You guys can join in by asking questions, and we can get Brian and Jen or myself and Ilias to answer some of those questions. I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead, Brian.
Not a problem. So one of the things that I think needs to really be talked about is when one of you are entrepreneurs, understand that, especially in the beginning phases, some of the money that's going to fund your business may come from the house. And I think one of the big concerns, regardless of who the entrepreneur is commingling of funds, in the sense of whatever we're doing for the business, as long as our bills are paid, we should be good. But if you don't trust the person you're with, then it's a situation where, well, I gave this money from the household bills to cover your underwater basket weaving adventure that you come up with. And at the end of the month, you haven't sold anything underwater. And at the end of the month, you haven't sold anything. And now we got to figure out how we're going to tell FPL, mortgage, and all the other bills. Well, this month we were kind of slow, but I know you got me, right? So just give me till next week and I'm going to get it together. Yeah. Like late fees don't kick in.
That's really important though, because for me in general, I never would knock him. Like, we had a play that we did 6 years ago called Release Me, and that play was like $20,000. And I remember when I came to Brian and I told him how much the play was going to be, he was like, "Oh Jesus!" I said, "But it's not going to come from the house." Then he was like, "Oh Jesus!" He was like, like, "Oh yeah, do it," because like I don't bring business bills to the house. Right. So a lot of times people ask, like, why is Brian so supportive? I'm like, because he's not going to have to pay it.
Absolutely.
Like when there's a new initiative or a new thing like that, he doesn't have to pay it. And I know that sometimes, and it was hard for me, and sometimes it still is hard for me, because I got so used to not asking him for money that sometimes it's still hard for me to ask him for money. He'd be like, "Bro, I'm here. You could ask me." Sometimes I'm like trying to figure something out, like to expand the business or to do something. And he like, "Bro, you can ask me." Like, you can, but I'm so used to not asking him. And I think that is something that people need to understand in the marketplace. Like, once your significant other is there to help you or whatever, that you should let them. And it was very difficult for me. And I remember one time I had to like repent to him. And I was like, I'm so sorry that I didn't even like trust you. He brought up trust, that I didn't trust you to lead in that way, you know? And I had to just be honest enough to say that as a wife to him. And there's some people who really just have to deal with themselves and say, like, really, especially if you're an entrepreneur or whatever, and you say, and you're so used to having your own, you know, having your own money and everything. When you're in a marriage, you are in a marriage. So I think a lot of women that are like myself need to really be honest with themselves and look in the mirror and say, bro, like if it all went away, do you trust this man to lead you? And that was something that hit me like a ton of bricks. And I say it to all the women that I possibly can say it to, because I'm like, you're so secure in yourself that if God just said no to you, if God said leave the job, or if God had something happen and you didn't have that, would you trust your husband to lead? And if you cannot trust him to lead, y'all really in something else that y'all need to deal with. And that's just something that's just real that I had to deal with. And that wasn't even like super long ago. If it wasn't the top of this year, it was last year that I had to say that to you. Last year I had to say, like, let's deal with that, because we get so comfortable, is what I'm saying, doing what you're doing. And it doesn't always have to be entrepreneurship. Your job could just be, you know what I'm saying, like executive level, and then the other one does not have executive level, and then you start getting messed up with these titles and all this stuff. Let me tell you something. You better make sure you got respect in your house. That is what matters.
I agree. You know, when we can go back to the last message that we had last week, and we were talking about, you know, when you're even starting a business, sometimes God will give it to you, but the partner didn't get it. So they're just like, what are you talking about? How are we going to fund this? How are we going to do this? How are we going to, you know? And so it's just like, you know, will you trust me? Yeah. Will you trust that God has spoken to me to say that we're going to do this? God said it, so the money is going to come some kind of how. I was so nervous to opening up my own practice to where it was very, very scary. Here now, I'm paying my own rent, you know, for the building and things like that. He's just like, where's the money coming from? I'm like, you know, I'm a whole therapist. I get paid. He's just like, well, amen to that. Closer to him.
Stay at home.
That's gonna be the thing for the closer to him being a stay-at-home dad. But it's true, when God doesn't give the other person the vision, are you willing to trust that God has spoken to them? And also, are they even showing signs that this, because sometimes you could just say, I want to be a candle maker. I've never seen you make one candle ever before in my life. What do you mean? You're going to be a candle maker. You're going to quit your job. Wait, let's talk about this first. Let's see if you can even make candles. Let's talk to God first. Sometimes we're just out here just doing things, and you haven't spoken with or trusted your spouse enough to even ask or to say, hey, you know, I want to talk about this, and let me show you how this is going to work. This man believes in me so much. He is so serious about being a stay-at-home dad.
Well, to be honest with you, we're going to go all the way back to our first topic, all the way to now. If you think about it, we had to come to communication. We had to communicate with each other first. After we communicate with each other first, then we had to come to a point where we submit to each other. Be submissive to each other. Because without us being submissive, guess what? She couldn't do what she had to do without me being submissive to her. And vice versa for myself. So we had to learn each other and learn how to respect each other's boundaries, where we could trust each other enough to go into business, either for herself or together or for myself. Because while we came to agreement, said, baby, I love you enough to do it. Go out there and do it, girl. Go.
Thank you.
And I can say, I'm going to stay home dad now.
Anyway, we're going to go to this question. From Renetta Irish. This is actually the sister of Genevieve. She actually, let me tell you, this is one person who jumped out on faith, and she is now a doula. Let me tell you, she has my kids the other day. They were just like, Mommy, all I see is Renetta all over the place. Does she own Instagram? I'm like,
Kirsten is so innocent.
I was like, no, she just markets herself in such a way that you have no choice but to, every time you turn it on, well, we see her, and she's doing some amazing work as a doula. One day I'll have her on here so she can share how she just jumped out from being an officer, come through now, and say, you know what, this is what I'm going to do now, and she's doing an amazing job. If I was having any more kids, then I would say, come on over, come be my doula. But at this moment in time, the shop is closed. We have. I send her to other people. But she has a question. Go ahead and read the question, Jen.
What advice do you have for the spouse of an entrepreneur that believes in the dreamer, their spouse, but doesn't see their dream as of yet?
Before you answer, the one thing I want to touch on is you should change. Well, you want to switch out dreamer for visionary, because dreamers tend to dream has a little bit of a negative connotation, like it's not realistic. But if you're a visionary, it has a completely different tone to it.
Yeah.
Oh, your true colors coming out, Brian. I knew you were doing it. At some point, it was coming.
Y'all done stirred it up.
Sorry.
Y'all done stirred it up, but he ain't gonna preach. But no, it is true though. Like when you have vision, a lot of times, and to speak to that, if there is vision, you're supposed to be married to somebody that can help you carry it out. That's kind of like that help me type of thing. Yeah. And we always act like it's just the woman and that the man is going to have vision, but that the woman's going to help him carry it out. But the truth of the matter is, if God has made it be the woman that's a visionary, then it's really that the man should help and align himself in such a way that he can carry out the visions. But her question is, what happens if he believes in the visionary and just hasn't seen any of his stuff come, or if she believes in him but hasn't seen any of her stuff come to fruition yet? I think that you have to understand, as far as the spouses go, to always be supportive, and to try to see what you can do. A lot of times what I find is that, like, Brian wasn't saying I was a liar. He was saying, I believe it for you. I don't believe it for me. I don't believe that people are going to spend that type of money. For his first product to be $75, right? Let me tell you, I had a whole attitude. I always articulate when I have attitude, and that was one of the moments. I had an attitude because I said, when I started out, I had to do things like a $25 shirt. I had to do things like a $49 class. No, he makes a $75 box right out the gate and sells out. I was like, you didn't want to do this a long time ago? You didn't want to do this? We were fighting for what? So I think that what you have to really massage and work on is their ability to see themselves. Because I think that, especially for us as women, I think that we tend to see a little bit more. And then they'd be like, what? I don't think you got all that from that, And really the person needs for you to kind of sort of just like guide those lines and draw those lines and say, no, I know that you can do it. And not just I believe in you, but I believe that you can do it. And this is how you can do it, right? This is how I'm going to be able to help you with yours, because it shouldn't be a one-sided thing. I wasn't just saying I'm making my goals, I'm achieving my dreams. I would be like, hey, I think you should do this. He'll tell you before the King case came, years and years and years, I would say, well, why don't you do that? Brian is the Bath and Body Works type of guy. He would have candles, he would have all the scents and be mixing the scents. And we never ever had a regular shower gel ever. Yeah. In the house. He was always mixing something, always doing how you like this, how you like this oil. I just put this oil with this, and how you like this, and this is massage oil, and this is what I'm using for this. He was always doing that, and I would see him doing things like that and making the initiative. But what was stopping him was his ability to believe. They spend money with Jen. Well, they spend it with me. And it was that. And I feel like if you really kind of hone in on that, and why don't you believe in yourself in that way? And why do you feel that way? And why don't you just try it and let the people show you that they won't? We have all this negative self-talk in our minds, and we're normally preparing for a failure that's never going to happen. But we stay in a place and we don't want to move forward. So if you are a spouse and you say, that person believes in me, thank God for support, but I need to make sure that I'm there in such a way that I'm pushing them even sometimes to the point of annoyance.
I love this. I love this because especially when you saw him doing things. Remember, I talked about, are you even doing something that even
exactly
resembles
yeah, exactly.
you opening up the king case? Like, do you have any? So you had something that resembled that, putting smells together. And I promise you, every time you're around Brian, that's how he gets his cologne now. Because I'm like, Brian, why do you smell like this? Anytime anybody's around him, they're always doing this. What is that? Brian smells good all the time.
All the time.
And so I remember one day calling Brian and saying, I want to get something for my husband. What scents do you got? He's like, I got them all. What you need? So now I can sit here. That's why we want to sit, because he smells so good. And it's a scent that Brian had and said, come on, let's try this one out. And we got that for him. And he's like, he shake that stuff. I'm like, put it everywhere so I can, smell you.
The funny thing is sometimes we don't see the entrepreneurship in ourselves. It takes somebody else to see it in us. Because all we know, or all we was taught as a child growing up, that you get a job, get a house, get married, have kids. That's it. Nobody tell us about, hey, you can own your own business. You can become a millionaire doing what you love to do the most.
Yeah, absolutely.
A prime example, King by Brian. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful product. I love it. It smells well. Skin feels lovely. It do exactly what it's going to do. And the thing I'm saying right now is that's something that could set him up for life.
Right.
But if he did not have the support from his wife,
right,
to push him into that business aspect, he would have missed it. But my wife, she liked to talk. She liked to be a very helpful person. So if I didn't push her into getting her degree, her master's degree, to go further, to open her own office, guess what we'd be doing? I'd be still working. She'd be a stay-at-home mom.
No, I wouldn't.
Partially.
Tired of kids.
But, honestly.
She was like, hold on.
She said that her face with it. She was like, no.
But,
like, don't have these people on this show.
That was his dream for me to be a stay-at-home mom.
But the thing is,
go ahead, babe. I'm sorry.
By she doing what she's doing now, by she doing what she's doing now, it is setting us up for our future.
Yeah.
Now I'm joking. All jokes aside, I've been joking about being stay-at-home dad, but I'm planning to do something way more than just stay-at-home dad.
Oh yes,
because I believe in family working together and family doing things important. And if we're gonna do something important, we got to walk out in faith, and we have to believe in each other. So I believe in you, baby.
Oh, I mean, we're going back to what Brian was talking about. Like, I think Renetta was asking the question of, what do you do when you believe in your spouse, but the spouse doesn't see themselves? This is where, especially for some men, like he's saying, you've been taught to get a job, get a wife, get you some kids, and you have pretty much made it. There is nowhere that they're teaching us that we can have businesses and that we can do, especially as people of color. So now I'm seeing, because I am an entrepreneur now, I'm seeing so many other entrepreneurs that where my children are going to be able to say, all I know is business, because all my mom hangs around, all my father hang around is people that have their own businesses. They're never probably going to work for anybody. They're going to work for either us or for themselves, right?
It changes their whole mindset,
So I see, Brian, I see your hand. Remember, I remember you used to do that. That's when we used to talk together. Brian used to always do
the same way.
You're not in church, Brian. But one of the things is just the belief comes from, like I said, God showed me him. So therefore, it was my duty as a wife to pray him up when he saw himself as down. So I would speak to the man in him that was there, because so many people had beat into him that he wasn't anything or wasn't going to amount to anything. And so I'm having to come in and reverse years of years of trauma that has been taught to him, and saying, no, God showed me this. This is what I see. This is who. Now, please, anybody that knows him, when have you heard him talk?
Mm-hmm.
He don't talk.
I
But
mean, he
here.
talks to
This
me.
is something
Not out.
that God showed me that he would be able to do. I could care less about this. I don't want to do this. I want to go to sleep. But this is what I know he wants to do this. So because I'm here, hello.
Yeah.
Hello, somebody.
Yeah.
God showed me that this is what he wanted to do, to talk to people about marriages. Yeah. And I'm just like, wow, just seeing him speak in different arenas with men, you know, me speaking to them. I even can move out the way now to say, you got that, baby. Wow, you got that. It feels good to trust him fully, to say, I know that he's going to speak something that's going to be good and not make us look crazy. He's not saying anything crazy out of his mouth unless he's with Brian alone and Sean Fife. He's not.
We leave them. And when they
it feels good to know as a woman that all my prayers, because he wasn't always like this, but God showed me who he was in the spirit. Now, everybody may not be ready for that, but I knew who he was, just like he saw me. And now you see the manifestation of both of us praying for each other. So he may not see it, but I can see him. So I say, God, you know what? How do I pray for him? How do I speak into his life? How do I speak to the man that he is? And how do I shut everybody else out that's telling me opposite of what God is showing me? Hello.
Yeah, that's right. And let me tell you, it is a sexy thing.
Brian did have his hand on it.
I just wanted to say that so you could speak. I was just saying that it's very sexy to watch a man operate in whatever he's supposed to be doing, whatever his gifting is, whatever it's wonderful to see. So
absolutely.
I'm good.
Brian.
So one of the things that I didn't want to just circle back to Netta's question was, or a solution I guess I can provide is, when one is an entrepreneur and the other one may not be, but still believes in that person who is the entrepreneur. Now, some people may not like this, but this is a true, foolproof, in my opinion, way to make things work, which is, I realized that when Jen was an entrepreneur, she was the entrepreneur, but I ended up working the business in the same way as if it were my own. And what I mean by that is, anywhere I went, and she can tell you even to this day, any person I run into that remotely does anything that falls under her wide net, I'm like, you should talk to Jen.
Yep.
It's not my business, but it is my business.
Yeah.
Because we're together.
Yeah.
So that to me was something that ended up working, in the sense of I pushed people towards her. So I believed in her vision enough to push people towards her, even though it wasn't my dream.
Yeah. Because
I believed in her, I said, well, let me push people to it.
Yeah. I have a question for you, Brian?
Okay.
Because this is where, we get a little serious. Did jealousy ever come up? Seeing the things that she's doing, and I know we have a question here on the board, but you can answer that question later. But did jealousy ever come up? Because sometimes certain things, the enemy will bring things to your mind and your thoughts, and will try to even get you to hinder your wife. So I want to know from you, did those things ever come up for you?
So the long answer is no. The short answer is also no. But the reason why that is because I am very secure in who I am as a person. And nothing that we do in our household, we don't talk about. Mm-hmm. So it's not like I went to sleep when I woke up and now she's got 3 other businesses to my one.
Domains would do that.
Domains don't count.
Okay.
Well, so that is definitely something that happens, where I may fall asleep and I'll wake up to a text message that says, oh, I bought this domain, and this domain. And I'll just look at my account and go, okay, it came from hers. All right, cool.
Essentially.
That's fine.
That's what happens.
But I mean, that to me is really one of the big things, because I'm secure in who I am as an individual. And because we were able to communicate, like you said in the first session, a lot of these things don't come to me by surprise. And I'm afforded the opportunity to articulate how do I feel about these things when they're happening.
Good. So would you say to other men that they would need to be secure in themselves in order to respect the type of woman that you're dealing with, especially if she's moving a little bit further than you. Because if one gets, that means we all get.
So I'll answer the question this way and say, if you're not secure, you probably shouldn't even get married.
Say that again.
I said, I'll say it this way. If you're not secure in yourself, you shouldn't even bother trying to get married.
Say that one more time. I can't, for the people in the back.
Hold on, let me drink this real quick.
This for because we only got a few more minutes.
Oh, you're right.
For the people in the back.
If you are insecure, insecure or unsure of yourself, don't get married.
Very good.
You read my mind.
Because
same thing.
Marriage is going to highlight and reflect a lot of these insecurities back to you. And I'm not saying you have to be perfect, but you should be able to have a solid understanding and grasp of who you are as a person, with the opportunity to grow in these areas or cut certain things off that need to die off. But if you're that unsure of yourself, don't do it to yourself.
That's real.
That's true.
So for the sake of time, we're going to leave that last question because that could go into a very long, we should have got that question earlier so we could kind of answer why you should or shouldn't get a check. It depends on, so many other different things as far as should you get paid or should you not get paid. I always want to get paid, especially for the kind of work I do. I want my money. But in corporations, I know.
30 seconds though.
And
I said I can do 30 seconds for you too, because when it pops up on the screen, the people want
30 seconds, go.
Okay, so 30 seconds is if you have a business, you should be working to your business eventually giving you a paycheck. That will not normally happen automatically. It happens when you reach a place of profitability. You won't reach a place of profitability if you don't know what your expenses are, and if you don't know how to make the amount of money that warrants a check. People want a check and they haven't done anything yet. So now they're paying themselves. And at the end of the year, they have all these bills and they're struggling. You might as well figure out your own system, figure out how it's going to work for you, and then work to get yourself a check.
30 seconds.
Y'all need to go. Y'all need to go get built by Jen. I'm just trying to tell you.
Trying to tell you because the new year is about to be something.
It's coming up, and those prices keep going up. So I'm just telling you, I can hardly reach her when I need her. So y'all better try to get on before it's too much. So I want to go ahead. We're getting ready to end. So I have some giveaways here. I have one that I'm going to do now, and Brian is going to do the last one. But the first one, well, before we do that, let's go ahead and Jen, please tell the people where they can find you.
Well, you can find me on Instagram. It's Jen with the GENC Harris. Jen, that's like for Genevieve Harris. Jen C. Harris on Instagram. And you can go to momentsintomillions.com and see everything that I do there. Okay.
And Brian, how can we reach you? Well, you know what? We'll figure out how we can reach you later because you're going to introduce the second portion of what we're doing. So I'm doing a giveaway right now. Y'all want to stay on? Well, you ain't got no choice but to stay on because Brian got to do the second one. Yeah. So somebody asked, how do you obtain these things? The King case. But the first one that I'm going to do is by Lady Ambrosia. I have a young lady that comes on here. She never misses, but she's single. And her name is Tiffany Hart. Is Tiffany on here? Tiffany, are you on here?
I saw her earlier.
I saw her earlier. I hope she didn't have to leave because Tiffany comes on while she's at work. And I wanted to gift this to Tiffany because Tiffany is always here. She's always here asking questions. She's a very big supporter of Let's Talk Marriage. And I wanted to gift this. This box it's from Lady Ambrosia. And you can find Lady Ambrosia on Instagram, Lady Ambrosia, candles. I need my glasses. But it's Lady Ambrosia. And okay, so he said we'll put the description in the description box. But this is her, Lady Ambrosia. And I'll put her information in the description box. She's on Instagram and she's on Facebook. The smells that come from this is absolutely amazing. She is a Christian and each one of her candles, it says something like this one says, "I am chosen." This is the Queen of the Night candle. Let me tell y'all, I got problems.
It's your testimony.
This is my testimony. This one here says, "I am powerful." This is by Lady Ambrosia Candle. This stuff smells good. She has a bunch of other things in this box. She even has a journal. I'm messing up this whole box, but she has a journal. Look at that.
That's cute.
But this is for Tiffany Hart. Oh, she said, "Oh, thank you so much, Miss Taisha. You're so amazing." No, you are amazing. So I want to thank you for your support. You've been here from the beginning. We've only been on like 3 times, but she's constantly here. She's at work right now. And so I just want to show you my appreciation just for you coming on. So that's for you. So we'll meet up. And it's more stuff in this thing. It's like a sugar scrub and everything in here, Tiffany. You are going to have yourself a good time. So she's going to come back on for the singles portion because Tiffany is single and ready to mingle, but she need her saved man. And no, I'm not trying to mix up Linton and her together, but I'm just trying to tell you, she's a woman after God's own heart. You understand? So Tiffany, thank you so very much for being so supportive. We love you here at Let's Talk Marriage.
Oh, congratulations.
So I'm going to let Brian introduce. Y'all look at this. This is Brian. Tell the people how they can. Tell the people. Tell the people, Brian. Brian. Tell the people.
Lord have mercy.
Y'all check this out.
Currently,
Look at this.
That's all right.
Go ahead.
okay. So currently, what Taisha has in her hand is the King Case, which is one of the products from.
Oh, I'm gonna model it.
Okay, go ahead, model it. I'm sorry.
No, as you say the thing, she's gonna pull it out.
Okay. So what you're currently looking at is turn a bit. That is our aromatherapy candle, Quiet Streams, which smells slightly orgasmic, as you can see by her face.
This adult hour. Brian, look. Somebody said that they want it.
Are we not married?
Let's talk marriage.
Oh, we said this for the married people. I do have somebody I want to give this to, but Sean Fife, you're not it.
Wow. So also inside of the box, you have that is a Meg Relief. It's one of our partners. It's a joint pain relief product that is good for almost everything. Ant bites, mosquito bites, headaches, aches and pains. We also have same thing. Okay. We also have the Meg Rub, which is another portion of the Meg Relief program. You can use that as a balm. It's a natural alternative to Bengay, Biofreeze. What's the other one? Salon Tiger Balm, all that stuff.
Oh, we know.
Yeah.
His back be hurting. Can you get some of that oil? Yes. Yes, let me rub your back down. This one here is my favorite.
Okay. So what she's currently has in her hand is our Brown King bar, which is our sandalwood with patchouli and activated charcoal. Now,
let me tell you something. Wait. You ain't selling this right.
Okay.
This soap, after your man get out the shower, you know what? Who I'm finna give this to? Look, y'all ain't trying to make no babies. This all comes in a box. So Sherelle and Nelson, your husband get this one. This ain't for you. This for your husband. Woo! Y'all gotta come get it. Go ahead, tell the people.
Technically, you said Sherelle was her name?
Sherelle and Nelson. She gets to get this one.
So listen closely. On top of this bar, we also have our Royal Oats bar, which is like our oatmeal bar. It is amazing. I need to get that. No. That's another product that's on our website, but you can go to Brown King Care to find. But inside that box, you can switch out the oatmeal bar for our Brown King bar. And what she currently has in her hand is our aromatherapy oil, which doubles as a beard oil for some of our fellas that like to try and have their beard smelling amazing.
Oh, let me tell you. Look, Let me tell you.
Oh my God.
Let me tell you.
It's the way you roll your eyes.
Brian, let me tell you.
Oh my gosh.
Brian, this is after hours. This is the after hours special. This stuff smells. Oh my gosh. This whole box is going to Minister Lionel Nelson.
Love it.
So we got to get together, and I'm giving him this box. So his wife, I don't know if she's trying to have no more babies. They got all their kids at the house too, but you're gonna mess around, and the Lord gonna bless your womb. Mess around with this one.
No.
All this stuff smells so good. Now I can put down in the description later.
Yeah.
But tell the people where to find you, Brian.
So I am on Instagram at Bowtie Brian. It's one of the few times that I'm actually not wearing a bow tie. On Facebook, I am at Brian Harris, and on Instagram, you can find us at Brown King Care. That's Brown King Care. Actually, can you hold up the box? So on the side of the box, you see there where it says "Treating a Man Beyond Skincare." We essentially got tired of listening to socks and tools that you used to give guys. And it didn't have to be Father's Day, just a lazy gift you couldn't find for their birthday. That's when we came up with the King case.
Amen. This is absolutely amazing. I'm so happy for you. You know, like sometimes family they tend to say, "Oh, you did gift this to someone." But I'm always supporting you because I like to buy. I don't like to, That's just not. So I paid them $75, especially for the first one. Man, let me tell you. Sean want me to pay to get him one, but I keep telling him he ain't my man. He better call his woman to tell her to get it. But I sell it so good that he's trying to figure out how he can get one.
Yes, we do.
So
I will say, keep posted on our page because we've got a couple more things that are coming.
Amen. So that's good. This is who the box is going to, but it's going to her husband. She said, "No more babies. We're about to be empty nesters. It's our time now." Well, it's really gonna be your time when you put this on him.
Sorry, one last thing. I just want to make sure that it's clear. Everything in our box is homemade and vegan. So for everyone that's on their vegan tip, by all means, jump on the soap. Everything in there you can get is all natural.
All right. I'm so happy.
Thank you so much for having us.
So now we got to have y'all to come over next week so we can have some dinner.
Yes.
We got to do this again. We've been so busy. Everybody's been so busy, but I'm so happy that you guys were able to come on. I'm always excited to see you guys and your family. Like, I really love you all. And is there anything else you wanted to share?
Let me think about it. Thank you. I really appreciate you because a lot of people need to hear this. This platform was not built just to run our mouth. Our platform was actually built to help other couples, other marriages, help single men understand their role in the marriage, help single wife understand their role in the marriage. Because the problem is today single woman, okay?
Not single wives.
That's why I got
the Bible says
single woman role as a wife. And they help build our kingdom of marriage.
Yeah, I agree.
And this platform is get involved, talk, respond to it. Let us know what you want to hear, what you want to talk about, the topic you want to talk about. We have questions. Don't be just I hate to say spectator.
Yeah.
Get involved.
Yeah.
It's for you guys.
Yeah. So you don't have to spectate. We're transparent. We like to I think this is a real good thing because not many people are doing this. And we're just being open and honest, about who we are and what we're doing and how we've lasted so long and going to last longer. So all these things are absolutely amazing. And again, we appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you.
That's why you can't be a stay-at-home dad because you play too much. Does anything you guys want to add?
Just grateful. We're just happy to be here. Keep doing this. This is great.
Thank you. Well, we're going to go ahead and sign off. And you guys can go and visit us on YouTube. We're on YouTube. Please like and share this. Share. And then hit the subscribe button when you're over there in YouTube because sometimes Facebook gets mad. They don't want you to do this, and they'll take you off. So if anytime you can't find us here, you can always find us on YouTube. YouTube, they're not trying to do like Facebook is. So y'all make sure that y'all, like, share, and continue to keep following us. We really appreciate you guys. Thank you again. Miss Sharella, we'll see you soon. Tiffany, I'll see you soon. Brian, thank you guys. Thank you guys. Have a blessed day.
Okay, you too.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Love you.